Hi, I'm Alan Murdoch. For the past 20 years, I've been buying, fixing, and selling properties right here in Southern Arizona. And I want to buy your property. Whether it's a house, apartment, commercial building, or vacant land, regardless of the condition or the situation, I want to talk to you. When you sell to me, I pay cash and it's hassle-free. No repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. If you have a property you don't want to deal with and you want a quick solution, call, text, or visit selltoalan.com. Again, that's selltoalan.com.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, coppercreekcookies.net.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Local Marana. I'm Clint Peek, your host, and I've got some really cool people with me, some friends of mine, some neighbors of mine with me. Why don't you introduce yourself, Joe?
My name is Joe Howard. I'm the Tucson Pride wrestling coach from right across the way.
Yeah. And who's this?
Hi, I'm Avery, and I'm a Tucson Pride wrestler.
And what grade are you in, Avery?
I'm in fourth.
Fourth grade. We were talking just briefly off camera, and I got to know, because I said, hold it. What school do you go to?
I go to ASU Prep Digital.
Tell me a little bit. What's your favorite subject? Math. Boom. Right there, girl. You hear that, David? Math. I love that. You like reading as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. Reading and math. So I want to talk to you real quick, and we're going to come back to you in a second, Avery. You run Pride Fitness.
It's it's Pride Fit Club's our DBA, but it's a Tucson Pride Wrestling Club, and we also have a Jiu-Jitsu club that we just introduced into our spot, and we want to bring that in also. So we were a traveling, competitive team. Both ends.
Travel.
Yeah, we travel.
Our children did travel baseball.
Similar. We've been
kind of the same kind of.
Anywhere from California to North Dakota. Yeah. So far we've been to.
I had some friends here from Georgia recently with their kids, and they were doing some kind of competition. This was like in the last couple of weeks, some nationals in Phoenix.
Okay.
I don't know if that's maybe a different sanctioning body or
probably,
something.
Probably, yeah.
What in your sanctioning body?
We're through USA Wrestling.
Okay.
We're a charter club through USA Wrestling.
Okay.
So
that's cool. I don't know that industry, but I grew up, or our kids grew up with that. Mm-hmm. Avery, you're actively involved in this. The stuff that Joe is talking about.
Yeah.
What do you compete in? Give me the stuff that you compete in.
I compete in wrestling.
In wrestling, is that girl wrestling, or is it just by age wrestling? In
Girls
other words,
and
you
boys.
wrestle boys.
Yeah.
So you're wrestling boys.
Yeah.
And I've seen some trophies and some ribbons and stuff. So she's winning.
Absolutely. She's a 4-time state champion. She's a regional champion. She's a nationals All-American in the boys division. She was one of 3 girls in Arizona to be an All-American. She's one of 3 or 4 girls in the country to be an All-American
awesome.
in the boys division.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's awesome. So, what's your favorite part of that?
Probably winning the matches, knowing
Running the
that
matches.
I worked hard.
It's because you teach as well, right?
Sometimes.
I mean, you instruct.
Sometimes.
Yeah, because I know you do, because I overheard a conversation that someone was bringing the student to Avery, and I'm like, Avery, that's actually really cool. That's great pride in her, and I'm sure your whole. I mean, you rattled off some pretty impressive.
A lot of people, what they see is her winning matches. They see her getting her arm raised all the time. They see her making little boys cry. They see her out there teaching her basic skills to other wrestlers who just come in. But what they don't really realize, what goes on behind the scenes, is the amount of sweat,
Yeah.
the amount of blood,
Yeah.
hard work I'm talking vomit that this young lady has actually endured. And this is one of the very rare occasions that you'll see not just a young athlete, but just an athlete in general that's willing to put themselves through the extreme circumstances for the uncertainty. Yeah. Because winning matches or just winning anything, there's no certainty in it. And it's ultimately not a fair game, because you can have someone who puts their all into it and have someone just that much better athletically, and they'll beat you no matter how much work you put in. But what you have to do is you have to go back, reevaluate what happened, what was my mindset at, because wrestling it challenges you, and jiu-jitsu also, it challenges you mentally, physically, emotionally. It challenges your social life. It challenges your mental and emotional stability. It challenges your character. And what we teach with these kids is that the mat doesn't lie. There's, like a lot of other sports. I love baseball. Baseball is like my passion. I am a baseball fanatic. I am a
Hands up, I love it.
diehard D-backs fan.
Cubs fan, but
so and then I'm also I'm D-backs and I'm Boston Red Sox. So those are my two teams.
Okay.
But if you want to have fun, play baseball.
Yeah.
But if you want to know what it feels like to be not just a champion, but to have that sense of just like I put everything I got into it, and my hard work got me here.
Right.
Because it's just you and one other person.
Right.
You can play baseball, you can play football, basketball. You missed 2 or 3 days of practice, you can ski right back in, and there's no change in the outcome. You miss 2 or 3 days of practice, it's like missing 2 or 3 weeks in any other sport, but it'll affect you, and it'll be noticed. The mat will expose your fears. It'll expose your courage. It'll expose your talent if you have any. It'll show you if you put in the work. And one thing that I've taught these kids too is not what you do when everybody's watching that turns you into a champion, is what you do when nobody's watching.
Absolutely.
And she's a product of that.
Yeah.
I think she has all of her success is because she's at the gym literally 5 days, sometimes 6 days a week, plus tournaments. And she puts in not just an hour here, hour there. She puts in hours. She's probably there as much as I am. And they travel pretty far. They come from way out Red Rock area. They come down just every single day, and they grind. So what I'm teaching, I think she's absorbed it and she's applied it. And she's on another level as far as athletes. I'm not just saying young athletes. I'm just saying athletes in general.
Right.
In general. The mindset that she has spoke to me a lot as a coach, and she's actually challenged me even as a man, because there's, I don't know if she remembers, but there's a quote that she came in when she first started. She struggled a little bit, and she was brand new, and I kind of threw her to the wolves, and she was having a hard time. Her first tournament didn't come out too well, and she was very emotional. And she one day at practice, I see her she's like chanting. I'm like, what is she doing? And then
now, how old is she at this time? I got it.
Just turned 8.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And she's like chanting, and she's kind of tearing. She takes a deep breath, she holds it, and then she's out there running. She gets thrown. Pow! She gets slammed to the mat. She gets up, wipes her tears, goes right back again, just like a pit bull. Just goes, gets thrown again, and then she's chanting. And then after practice, I'm like, "What are you saying?" And then I went to her mom, and she's like, "Tell him." Yeah. And she has this little saying that she said, and it actually applies to us.
What is it?
It was, my strength is my emotion, and I'll feel every one of them, but I will not let them own me.
Beautiful.
And think about that.
Say it again.
My strengths are my emotions, and I feel every one of them, but I will not let them own me.
How cool is that? Where'd you get that?
Me and my mom made it up.
You made that up?
Yeah.
That you need. That needs to be.
That needs to
like
be on a
post,
T-shirt. That needs to be a poster.
Absolutely.
A
We have T-shirt people. Let's get this thing like right now,
and think
and
about
then
it.
sign that Avery right at the bottom. Avery's art.
Yeah, and
I love that.
If you think about how well does that apply to just all aspects of life,
And that came from an 8-year-old.
that's
I know
a moment.
I know mom might have had a little bit to do with that, but the 8-year-old originated. If the 8-year-old doesn't have that desire, mom can't be there for her. Am I wrong?
You're 100% right. I mean, you think about when she's at practice too, and she'll start to get that teary-eyed. Mom will give that look like, "Are you really hurt?
Yeah.
Are you bleeding?
Yeah.
Can you get back out there? Get back out there.
I'm ignorant when it comes to what you guys do as far. Do we wrestle by age and weight, or what? How do we break this down?
Typically, in a tournament or a match, it's set up to where you wrestle someone within your age range within a couple of years. You wrestle your weight class. Sometimes they do on a bracket. If it's a smaller tournament, they'll group everybody together within 5 pounds. Mm-hmm. But it's typically someone who, like, if you go to a big tournament, nationals, regionals, state matches, you wrestle someone on your weight. So if you have to weigh, say she wrestles, say 55 pounds. Mm-hmm. If she's 55.2, she didn't make weight. She has to bump up. So it goes down to just the points.
Depending on the size of the events.
Correct. Well, on a state, regional, and national level, you have to be on weight. Okay. If you don't make weight, you're either out of the tournament. Okay. You don't get to compete, or you have to go up to the next weight class. Okay. Even by a 0.2 will put you overweight. So that's a little less than a quarter of a pound. Yeah. And you have, and it's a lot of discipline at a young age to make that weight class. And it takes a lot of discipline. And think of a little 8-year-old, there goes the snacks, there goes the hot Cheetos, there goes, the cake, the cookies, the pie. You have to discipline yourself to eat
Avery, I did not make my weight class this week.
So there's a lot that goes involved with the sport, and it's a grueling process. So you're wrestling someone at that level. But what we've done with her to challenge her, though, we've double bracketed, and at one point we even triple bracketed her. So she'll, in her age group, she'll wrestle, say, 55 pounds. Then in her same age group, we'll wrestle her, say, 60 pounds. Mm-hmm. Another way up. Mm-hmm. She'll do a girls division, then she'll do a boys division. And then one time we did the girls, the boys in her age group, different weight classes. Then we bumped up an age group. So we had her wrestle like age above her. So she's given up another 2 years to challenge her. And we're just trying to find ways to keep her on point, not to get relaxed, because in her age group, in the girls division, there's really no one that can handle her. We found maybe 1 or 2 girls in the country that really give her a hard time, and other than that, she really hasn't lost to a girl.
That's awesome.
And her attitude towards, and what I mean by special too, you'll find even high school kids, college kids, they will dodge a certain person at a tournament to up their ranking to get the wins.
Oh, absolutely.
She wants to go there. She has a couple of wrestlers.
So sandbagging happens in wrestling as well.
100% it does. But what she's done, and we've had to tell her, just relax. There's a couple of kids that are boys that are just had that boy strength on her, and they're just really good. And they're national champions. She wants to beat them. She wants to wrestle those weight classes. And
I won't ask you, but do you know their names?
Yeah.
You know exactly who your competition is.
Yep.
I knew that answer. I knew I was throwing a softball in there. You know exactly who they are. That is really cool.
So
that is really cool.
She goes after
when our kids were young and we were active in sports, it was never about the trophy. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It was about getting better.
Right. So what we do is like we started literally in the garage. I started in the garage, and it started with my boys. We went out to a couple clubs. They didn't really treat us too well, because they were brand new. They didn't give them any attention. Mm-hmm. We're paying a lot of money, and they were just literally getting thrown. They were thrown to the wolves with no care, though. Mm-hmm. And it was a bad experience. So, and I thought, why are we going to do this when me as your dad, I wrestled in high school. Why don't I just really dive into the coaching and then just coach you guys? And then we'll just go ourselves, just us. So we started doing that, and we started in the garage. We went to a few tournaments. They struggled the first couple of tournaments. They were brand new, but we went back to work and we grinded hard in there. We dealt with the heat in the summer, because wrestling is all year round. Mm-hmm. So we dealt with, there's 3 different styles of wrestling. You have your folk style wrestling, which is, we're the only country in the world that wrestles folk style. That's what you see in college. That's collegiate. Mm-hmm. The rest of the world wrestles international wrestling style. It's called freestyle. There's different rule sets, and then you have your Greco-Roman. So we train in all 3 divisions, so in all 3 styles. So we started training in our garage. After my boys started winning, they got pretty good, because we put a lot of time in. Then we had a couple of wrestlers at tournaments. Hey, where do you guys train at? Well, we train in our garage. Yeah. Well, would it be okay if we come by and train with you guys? So we started there, and little by little it grew. And then we started putting holes in my garage, and we decided, okay, to save the house, we're getting a little big.
Yeah.
Let's look at possibly trying to get a spot. So we took our time, but it wasn't until I had to turn some kids away because there was no space. That's when I thought, we really got to do something.
Do better.
So we ended up, and then we started, and that's where.
How long ago was that?
That was back in the end of 2014, going to 2015.
Okay, so
And-
it's 7-8 years.
Yeah.
9 years.
So that's what's going. It's coming up on 10 years pretty soon.
That's
So,
cool.
and we started growing from there, and we've faced a lot of adversity, but we've always pulled through. And I don't have anyone really helping me with this. It's all just been me and
Right.
and the wrestlers.
Right.
So we've grown, and that's how it took off. And then when they see our wrestlers' character on the mat, like our team, I am so proud of our team. We have kids that when they first came on, that they had emotional issues, like they could not control their emotions to save their life. They would just fall apart. Another thing that we've taught, and it's true to all athletes, so anyone listening right now, you really got to wrap your mind around this right here. This is very important to anybody listening. In life, when you make a mistake, you fall short, you make a bad decision, you have consequences to that. You go out and you wrestle, you lose a match. It hurts. When you make mistakes, it hurts. But losing a match, making a mistake, doesn't define you. That's not who you are. That doesn't define you. Your character does.
Right.
And it's how you handle yourself in your loss in wrestling. When your character comes through, that's who you are. So what kind of person you want to be. When you make a mistake and you acknowledge that you made a mistake and you face it, deal with the consequences head on, face it, own up to it, and just stay true to yourself, your character comes out. Now, you'll always have those that don't understand. You have those that will come out and just completely obliterate you and try to tear you down in your character. But even in that situation, what's your character like? And that will define you on who you really are. And then let your character expose others. You don't have to do nothing extra, but just be you. And let your character expose who you are, and those who are trying to hurt you, it'll expose who they are. And to me, that's very important for kids to learn at a young age, because they get so wrapped up on the wins and losses. Even in your wins, what kind of character do you have when you win? What do you do?
Oh,
How do you act?
We know good winners and we know bad winners.
Absolutely. And I tell you what we really hone hard on our kids, and at tournaments, that makes me feel so proud of what we've accomplished, is that we get referees, other coaches, other parents that come up and they shake our hands.
Yeah.
And they tell us that they really appreciate our character and the level of maturity that our wrestlers have. And we've come a long way. And that's a proud moment for me. I get choked up just talking about it.
Absolutely. They're your kid. I've thought about what you were saying, and I've thought about that a lot. I said it just yesterday. As long as you're moving, as long as you are continuing to move and focus on your goals, not that in a selfish way, I don't mean it that way, but as long as you're moving forward, what other people are saying or doing, good or bad about you, really doesn't affect you because you're too busy. What's your statement again, Avery? What's your slogan?
My quote?
Yes.
My strengths are my emotions. I feel every one of them, but I will not let them own me.
And that, I'm telling you, that
Can you say
that
it any
there,
more eloquently than that?
That's what helps me and go on, because we are emotional people. When you care, you can't help but be emotional.
Right.
And you have to feel it.
Right.
You have to acknowledge it, and that's who you are. But there's a fine line and giving into your emotions. And I've made so many mistakes in my life about giving into my emotions. And
we all have, unless you're just stone cold. Everybody has, some to bigger degrees than others, but everybody's made that. We've done it. We're human. Let me touch base on something real quick that we're working on, and it goes right. It fits perfectly what you're talking about. We're starting a new season, our new series here pretty soon. I'm not going to get into the specifics or a big reveal, but it's faith, family, in schools. So you're covering a lot of what we talk about, because we're talking about children. Rebuilding our families, rebuilding our faith, rebuilding our neighborhoods, rebuilding our communities, right? And it starts right here. It starts with the children. So people like yourself, people like David, people that are working with children at whatever capacity, whether you're teaching school, teaching wrestling, coaching baseball, coaching football. We'll be out Marana High School later this week at Media Day. To me, that's the core principles. So the stuff you guys are talking about to me are the bedrock things of our society. So I had to throw that in there. I applaud you guys. I applaud you for doing such a great job being, what's the word I'm looking for? Being the outcome of your success. So you've been at this 10 years, give or take, started with your kids, like all businesses typically do in a garage, and somebody in your family needed something. Now here we are, 2023. Where are we at? What are we doing?
Well, we're doing really good. I mean, we were not even coming in the top 20, top 50 when it comes to teams at these tournaments. Now we're coming in the top 3. We have several championships as a team right now. And how it works when you go to tournaments, they look at, okay, so say we'll go with 12, 13 kids. Okay. There's another club that will go with 70, 80 kids.
Yeah.
And then you get all the points compiled together, or you get the top 12, top 15, or whatever they decide at the tournament, and they get those top scores and they add them, they compare it to the rest of the clubs. Everybody beats us as far as numbers, but if you go head to head and quality of wrestling, for this last tournament, we chased one of the top clubs, I say, in the country. And they're just have a phenomenal coach. This guy is just amazing with kids. They travel the country, yearly, and they're out there on the biggest stages you can be, and they're just molly-whopping people. It was an honor for us to be trailing them and losing to them by like 8 points. And we would 9 points would have won it, 8 points, and those were our actual fundamental mistakes as athletes, not understanding the point system too well.
Right.
And in wrestling matches, when you win a match, you get a certain amount of points. So how it works is if you win by decision, that's within just points that's under. If you're say 7 points or less above your opponent, it's called a decision.
Okay.
If you win by 8 points above your opponent, then you win by what's called a major. You get bonus points. Bonus team points. If you win by a tech fall, that's like the mercy rule. It's 15 points above your opponent. You get what's called a tech fall. There's more bonus points. If you win by a fall, which is a pin, that is the ultimate bonus points you can get. And there were times that in some of our matches that we were wrestling and we were doing good, we're winning, and there's different strategies to get bonus points. And we're yelling out the commands, but some of the wrestlers were so just, I'm going to win this match. They didn't realize, oh, wait, I can get more points
if I do this.
So, and what I'm trying to teach them too is not just for our club, but you have to understand the importance of gaining bonus points for your club, because colleges look at that. And our goal is to send kids to college. We already sent about 11, 12 kids to college on a wrestling scholarship.
That's awesome.
So, and they're out wrestling, competing, and they're doing phenomenal right now. And every summer they come back to the room, they share their knowledge, they compete, one of we call the original OGs from Tucson Pride Wrestling. One of the kids that started with my boys, and I hope I'm not going to get trouble by saying his name. I'm sure he'll be all right, but his name is Brandon Paredes. He was a Tucson Pride wrestler. Him and my son met at a tournament, and they just battled. And they were both new. It was a great match. And then I got to know the family, and we became family. And he was in there in the garage. No matter where we went, they went with us, and they stayed with us all the way until we went to college. And now he's competing for college. He's wrestling for Shadron University.
Doesn't that make you cool? Doesn't it make you feel cool? I mean, not cool, but isn't
proud,
that a cool feeling?
Very proud, yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of those kids, like with our kids. Of course, my kids are grown, but we get Christmas cards and stuff, or I see them at the store, on Facebook, asking me to be their friends. That's a good feeling. We must have done something right for these now young adults to be, coming back wanting our attention or thanking us for what we've done. You're going to have a whole bunch of them, aren't you?
That's the plan. Now we do have challenges that we got to face, and there's challenges that we're actually going through right now that we're trying to bounce back from. But what I do promise these kids, no matter what, we're going to stay rolling. Right. We're going to keep them competing. We're going to keep those opportunities coming.
So we're getting close to the end of the hour. I don't know if David had anything from inside the booth. Thanks, David, as always, for doing a great job producing and directing Local Marana. But But how can people get a hold of you? How can people find out more information, websites, phone numbers, etc.?
So right now,
Facebook pages.
we were actually on the
You
final.
want to show them there, Avery? Show them right there. You're going to be in that camera right there. Open it up while Coach Joe is talking to us.
So you can contact us through our phone number, which is 520-276-0662. You can email me as 2 different emails. You use pridewrestlingaz@gmail.com or jbuildingchamps@gmail.com. We also have a Facebook and Instagram page, and we have a YouTube channel that we post up a lot of their matches and a lot of our trainings on there. Our Instagram has a lot of content of our grind inside the room, so that you'll see what it is that we're about, and it's a lot of hard work, and it's athletes like Avery that just keeps me motivated every day to keep going back and grinding. We did take a hit the end of last month. We someone came in and robbed us and put us in a big bind. We had a cushion that we were building up on, and they took everything. So we were bouncing back, and we're fighting to keep the doors open, basically. And through this time, I'm actually seeing who's really behind the program, and others their real motives. Right. And this is what we're actually finding out. And sometimes you got to prune the tree.
And so, if someone wants to help, the numbers that you just gave,
absolutely. We also
emails.
Yes, we even put up a GoFundMe that's up right now that we're trying to raise money for the program. Okay. And it's on our social media pages, so you can find it there. And if you want the page, if you contact me, text me at that 520-276-0662 number, or email me. If you ask for that link, we can send it to you. Okay.
Avery and my wife Tammy are buddies.
She talks about her all the time.
My wife talks about her. She goes, Avery and I are buddies. Avery and I are best friends. I love her. Yeah, that's cool. Long before I ever met you, I heard Avery. I hear about we got a live audience today. Right. We don't normally work with a live audience, but we do have a live audience today. It's great to see you guys over there. Hey, this has bin fun. Would you come back on?
Absolutely.
Keep us updated?
Yeah.
Keep us updated. New slogans. Let's get that on a T-shirt, like ASAP. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
What's your statement? I want your quote. I want to hear it one more time. Say it loud and clear for those in the back.
My strength is my emotion, and I feel every one of them, but I will not let them own me.
That's amazing.
Man, we're going to leave right there. Joe, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Avery, thank you. Hey, thanks again for tuning in and listening to us. Local Marana. I think by now you know the drill. If you guys have a business or something you want to promote, talk about, Local Marana, something local based, get a hold of any of us here at LTD Media. Let's go out with that.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.